the Cosby Show with refusing to address certain black issues or preserving certain racial segregation is communicating some sort of negativity. Now, in terms of the American dream, just going back to this this example, and which we will look at in violence, the violence lecture. What we see with even just the terminology, we have a great difficulty now looking at these things that establish our normatives, our norms. Looking at this idea of political correctness. Okay, well, first of all, what is political correctness? We have to ask ourselves this question. And now, when we talk about political correctness, by whose politics? So if we are assuming Europeans must operate within an American politically correct framework, for example, using politically correct terms, or what's deemed to be politically correct in America, itself can have its own violence. First of all, there's a conflict between politically correct terms in America and in other countries, perhaps, for example, Britain, Ireland, so on and so forth. There are a number of examples. Another difficulty with political correctness is whose politics? We have to ask ourselves this. Whose politics? And now, if we are obliged to, say, adhere to American political correctness, or British political correctness, or German political correctness, are we not being disenfranchised ourselves if we did not have a vote in this political system? So it seems that this is being forced upon us ourselves. Right? Now, we also have a difficulty with certain examples of political correctness. Now, I want to make this example of African American, just the term itself, and also, again, it provides an example not only of this underlying systemic violence, but it will give us an example of class, race, and gender idealism and problem with this. Well, first of all, the term African American refers to what is, to just be loose about it, typically black people in America, of course. Now, what we must identify first is the geographical area of Africa. Now, there are 5 countries in Africa. So we have Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, and Egypt. And even parts of northern Sudan, which do not or are not populated by a black majority or ethnicity. Even these are predominantly Arab and north of the Sahara. These are predominantly Arab ethnicities. So when we say African American, what we're really referring to is sub-Saharan African. Now, in America, for example, if an individual from Ireland moves to America and acquires dual citizen status, they can refer to themselves as Irish American. If an individual from, say, Kenya moves to America, they can call themselves a Kenyan American. Now, Africa itself, now we look at just even the division of the nations. Now, we know nationalism is a phenomenon that comes from about the 18th century onwards. Now, we also realize that there was a massive slave trade and population of the Americas from Africa. Now, there are politically, as a political or cultural statement, people who can identify a nation of origin use that to help communicate their identity. For example, Kenyan American or Irish American. But it seems that throughout America, a lot of the ancestry was lost because of slavery. Now, what it seems African American in this term is referring to is a genealogy lost because of slavery, which is fair. But to use the term, or to use the term blanketed African American to refer to all black people, not necessarily of American descent, but for example, Barack Obama, referring to himself as African American. Well, he'd be closer to Kenyan American. And in fact, because he knows his genealogy. And it seems so in the use of the term, first of all, African American is specifically identifying a black group and rejecting or leaving out a large amount of Arabs who are from the continent of Africa. So really what we're referring to is a sub-Saharan pre-industrial revolution or pre-abolition of slavery group of people. So Barack Obama's use of the term seems to be negative in that it was failing to address the cultural difference of the American black population as opposed to the black population with identifiable roots and links to Africa. In fact, the African American phrase itself seems to be referring to this loss of lineage and the outcome of slavery, the Emancipation Proclamation, and the Civil Rights Movement. Furthermore, the final example I want to make is shortly after Barack Obama was elected, I just remember this, that a woman came out and she had, with her arms around, a black woman came out with her arms around her two daughters, and she says, now I can look at my two daughters and tell them they can be anything they want to be. Well, now, can we see how damaging this is? First of all, she's saying because what you're saying is that, you know, because a black man has been elected. Well, Barack Obama's inclusion amongst this demographic of African American is still rejecting the privileged position Barack Obama has economically in the economic background he's coming from, the financial background. He's a lot better off than a large majority of the African American demographic. The second issue as well is that there's still a presupposition of racial equality has overcome the feminist issue, that women still have a lesser presence in the political institution. Now, it's ironic that she says, my daughters can be whatever they would want to be, as opposed to my black children, because of their relation, the skin tone relation to Barack Obama. What would have seemed almost more present would have been that my daughters could be anything they would like to be because Hillary Clinton has won. So, but of course she didn't. Now, and then finally as well, we're forgetting the fact that his success was pivoted on the fact that only very few can succeed. Not everyone can be the President of the United States of America. So here we see these underlying violences that are communicated through this seemingly politically correct language. Okay? So this is just what we want to keep our eyes open to. Now, we're not saying this is exhaustive or that the Cosby Show is ultimately negative, but we do have to be aware of these underlying violences that exist in the seemingly acceptable social norms. Okay, I hope you enjoy, and and please, if you haven't already, take a look at the lecture on violence. Thank you very much.